ABC 10 breaking news.
We come on the air with breaking news. I'm Tracy Davidson. The Philadelphia District Attorney's Office is providing an update on the search for a missing woman and the suspect charged in her disappearance. Kada Scott has not been seen in 13 days. Keon King has been charged with kidnapping in the case. This is District Attorney Larry Krasner.
Is everybody ready?
Let's listen.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. We have called this press availability in order to address any questions the media may have or anything else that we can do to support the ongoing investigation of the kidnapping of Kada Scott, the efforts to safely locate her, the efforts to further this investigation in this particular case. I just want to start by saying October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Our prosecutors, victim advocates, and law enforcement staff are deeply concerned about every victim and survivor of crime, and those who are victims of domestic violence are extremely important to us. And we will be giving a few more details about the investigation and prosecution of defendant Keon King. Most of these details, most of the details of the case you already know. You're aware of them. But I want to make sure that we are keeping the public updated, and I want to make sure that people understand that the FBI, the Philadelphia Police Department, the DA's office, other law enforcement partners are working 24/7 on this case, are doing everything we can with the remarkable, unusual, extraordinary support and help coming from the public to address the situation we all face. I think part of what is really, perhaps what has animated so much community help, such an unprecedented effort that we are seeing by the community to get us information, to get the police information, anonymous tips, tips about cars, tips about evidence locations, things of that sort. We even have some information that additional victims of this defendant from incidents that never resulted in an arrest are starting to come forward. I think part of what is happening here, and it's good news, is that young people are seeing themselves in Kada. Older people see their kids, and they would like to know that everyone is doing everything they can, no matter how perfectly or imperfectly, but they're doing everything they can to try to deal with this horrific situation. I am here to say to the public that I am fully committed to there being justice in this case, to every single thing that can be done for Kada being done now. I'm not alone in that. I can tell you that the mayor has gone to somewhat extraordinary and very impressive lengths to try to address the needs of this family, to make sure that this investigation goes as smoothly as possible. Police Commissioner, I know, feels the same way. He and I have been on the phone a couple times speaking directly about certain aspects of this case over the past several days. I can't tell you exactly what that was about because, as I said, the investigation is ongoing, but it was about stuff that mattered. It was about stuff that was important, and we were very much of the same mind about how to address that issue. If there's anything that I hope to gain by this press conference, it is frankly part of what was gained by the last one, the one that was done by PPD middle of last week. And that is to get more help. It is to have more people come forward. It is to get more information. We have reason to believe that will happen because it's already happened. We have reason to believe that will happen because of the deep interest people have in Kada Scott and the deep interest they have in her safety and getting justice for what has occurred here. For anyone who has additional information, please reach out to the Philadelphia Police Department at 215-686-TIPS, 215-686-TIPS, or please contact us at the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office, 215-686-8000. I'd like to acknowledge now some of the good people who are here. We have with us State Representative Andre Carroll of the 201st Legislative District. Representative Carroll has been deeply interested in criminal justice, including criminal justice for young people for many years, has worked closely with our office at times, and as it happens, knew Kada Scott in ways that he can certainly explain. Representative Carroll will be speaking. We have first ADA Robert Listenby here. We have ADA Ashley Tezlowski, who is in the DAO's Homicide Non-Fatal Shooting Unit and is taking the lead on a lot of the efforts right now with the assistance of others in this office. ADA Bob Wainwright, who is the chief of the DAO's Homicide Non-Fatal Shooting Unit, is here. ADA Bill Fritzy, chief of the DAO's Gun Violence Task Force, which also is responsible for some of the most important technological forensics that we do, and they will continue to be very important in this investigation, is here. We have Mariel Dela Cruz, director of DAO's Victim Services Unit, Donna Wood, director of the DAO's Relocation Unit, here. I do want to take a moment here to thank Ashley for her deep dive into this case. This is not something she had early on. This is something that came to her desk more recently. But I can tell you, she ain't sleeping. She's on the phone with me all the time, at every hour, as she should be, because there's not an hour that should pass without additional effort on this case. She has consistently shown her professionalism, her integrity in dealing with this case, and I am delighted that she will be taking point on this with a whole team from this office. All right. I do want to talk about a couple things that I don't think have been heavily covered or considered about this case yet, or if they haven't, maybe they haven't been fully reported, but I want to share this with you because it may be of help to you in the media. First of all, I want you to understand that when this case began, it was a, When this case began, well, let me rephrase that. There's been some discussion about a prior case involving defendant Keon King, involving a different victim, a case that ended at the preliminary hearing. And there has been discussion about some of the events that occurred there. There is no doubt that there's a list of people in this office, outside of this office, and no, it doesn't matter who they are, but there's a list of people who made a lot of good decisions and a couple decisions that could have been made better, that could have been better, right? There's certainly that has been discussed. But we also can't skip over some of the systemic issues here that are not small. This is a case in which, in the prior matter, we requested $1 million bail, $1 million minus $1 bail, and we did not get it. We don't set bail, judges do. The bail was set at $200,000. Why? Well, probably because the commissioner who set the bail probably imagined that was enough to hold Keon King in custody. It wasn't. Keon King had access to a lot of money. And so he paid $20,000 bail almost immediately and was out of custody as a consequence of that, right? This is the problem with cash bail. This is what we've been talking about for a long time. It's not just whether or not he's in custody immediately. It's also what is the situation of a victim who has to go to court, a victim of domestic violence who has to go to court, knowing that the defendant will walk out the same door she came in. What is the situation? How likely is that victim to come to court if that victim knows that that victim is dealing with a profoundly dangerous, profoundly violent person? And we all know the answer. That victim is more likely to walk in the door of the courthouse and testify if that victim knows that the defendant can't walk out right behind her if he's locked up. Well, he wasn't locked up here. And so, sadly, what happened was there were two court dates, at the first of which the judge announced that it must be tried next time, and the victim did not arrive on both of those occasions. An eyewitness did not arrive on both of those occasions. I don't say that to say that's the whole story, but it's not, but it is part of the story. And it is a part of the story that would be remedied if we got away from this, frankly, nutty notion that bail is a good way to deal with these situations. Someone profoundly dangerous should be held. I don't care if they've got a lot of money. Someone who's not dangerous at all shouldn't be held. I don't care if they're poor. That should have nothing to do with this. Money should be divorced from determining who stays in custody, as has been done in the District of Columbia and many other states. It is a successful system. Now, without pointing a finger at any individual, I am pointing a finger at the cash bail system, because its role in this is, frankly, very problematic. I also want you to know that there has been, and there continues to be, extensive victim support and outreach to the victim in the first case. That's just a fact. And we will continue to do that. Some of it I cannot even speak about, because it would be inappropriate for me to talk about some of the measures that this office has engaged in for her protection. And not yesterday, a long time ago, okay? I don't want anyone to believe or to think that our victim services people and others who do specialized work in that field don't care, because they care deeply. They've done a lot. They've done things that, just like the investigation, it would be improper for me to talk about. But perhaps we can talk about it when this case is concluded or at a later time. We can't necessarily do that. Finally, I just want to say this before we hear from Representative Carroll and then move to Q&A. We are encouraging, we are asking other victims of this defendant, Keon King, the gentleman to your left, my right. We are encouraging you to come forward. We have information to indicate that there may have been other victims. We are asking you to come forward. Contact our office. Contact the Philadelphia Police Department. Some portion of this has already happened after the last press conference. We are asking you to protect others by coming forward, and we are telling you that all the resources of this city will be at your disposal to make sure that you are safe in this situation. Keon King is in jail now. He's in jail on, what is it, $2.5 million bail? A sum of money he's not able to come up with, despite the fact that he has access to money. You do not have to worry about his coming out of the courthouse door right behind you, because he's not coming out of that courthouse door right behind you. And if I have my way, he's not going to be coming out of a prison door either. That's how serious this gets. So I'm asking you, please come forward. All Philadelphians, please come forward. Let us know any information you have, whether it's information about a car, whether it's information about a phone, whether it's information about a piece of evidence, information about another victim, something that you saw in social media. Even if you don't know that it's accurate or true, but you know you heard it or saw it, we're asking you to come forward. It is my pleasure at this time, before we get to question and answer format, it's my pleasure to call Representative Andre Carroll, who I know has some interesting and important remarks.
Good afternoon, everybody. First and foremost, I want to thank the DA's office. I want to thank the FBI. I thank the homicide detectives who's assisted with this case so far. I also want to censor my remarks and concerns, thoughts, and prayers for the family. I recognize that we're talking about a 23-year-old young black woman. I've had opportunity as a criminal justice advocate prior to being elected to State House to work with young folks who have been tried in this city, and I've had the opportunity also to get to meet the victims' families. And walking in the courtrooms, there's a divide of both. But what I recognize is that, you know, I've had an opportunity to build relationships across this aisle, and I recognize in this moment that there is a family right now that is praying for the safe return of this young lady. I've worked with colleagues in the House, in particular Gina Curry, who introduced legislation around the Ebony Alert. Far too often in this country, when it comes to young black girls and women, we do not see this kind of outpour. In this case right now, we recognize that everyone in this city, from the community to law enforcement to elected officials, are committed to the return of Kada Scott. I want to thank you, Philadelphia, for everything that you've done so far at this point on behalf of the family. But I also want to continue to encourage you guys, if you see something, if you know something, say something. The DA's office, our judicial system, the criminal justice system, they can only do what they have access to as far as information. Hope cannot be relinquished yet. We can get Kada home. I have had opportunity to meet Kada over the summer when Kada was running for Miss Philadelphia. Very timid, beautiful young lady. I am a loss for words as to how do we get to this point. It's not too late, guys. This family I've had the opportunity to talk to, they want their daughter, their sister, their cousin, their neighbor home. I'll close with this. Miss Kada Scott ran to be Miss Philadelphia. We're counting on Philadelphia in this moment right now and I hope return her back home to her family. Thank you, guys.
You have been listening to Representative Andre Carroll speaking about knowing Kada Scott. Met her when she was running for Miss Philadelphia, saying we can get her home. We also listened to the district attorney, again, asking for information, believing that there could be more victims, asking for people to come forward with more. NBC 10's Shaira Arias is at that press conference. She has been covering this story. She'll have a live report coming up on NBC 10 News at 4. We'll see you then.